Ladies and gentlemen, it's time for another round of Mind Your Puckin' Business with your host, Jeffrey Kuntzman.
I feel like we got to time that intro. We were a little early today,
I
or
could
maybe
barely
the
hear
song got
anything.
up.
B-Rock, you gotta.
And now he's playing the goal song. He's getting right into it. From the beautiful studios of Undefeated Media here in Bergen County, New Jersey, this is the Mind Your Puckin' Business podcast brought to you by our good friends, the Bamboozle Project and DraftKings. We encourage you to check out the Bamboozle Project. You can do that at www.thebamboozleproject.com, conveniently across your screen for those following on the video feed this morning live. And you can use promo code MYPB, save yourself a whopping 25% off all orders on the site. And the way the weather has been here in the Northeast, which is where we tape this show from, you could be using that winter hat right now. There's a bunch of stuff on there you could be using as we now are officially into the change of seasons.
Yeah.
Some people like to think, Doug, that I've never understood that, like in mid-August when Dunkin' Donuts brings back their pumpkin drinks, that's the sign of the fall.
Yes.
It's not. It's like now when you have to turn your heat on for the first time.
It rained for like a week straight.
Still raining, baby, even when we came in today. This is episode 125, Ciento Viente Cinco on the Spanish dial. We appreciate you tuning in and utilizing the SAP feature for those that are doing so today. You can send us your questions at any time at mypbshow@gmail.com. You can DM us at any time at Instagram. And you can listen to the show on a variety of different platforms, whatever is best suited for your needs. You can listen on Spotify and iTunes. You can stream it on those platforms, or you can watch the show with video feed at live or at any time on repeat on YouTube. Speaking of sending in questions,
they're already starting to come in.
Well, so last week, did you see what we did? We opened up an it was the first day of training camp opened on Wednesday.
Yeah.
So someone had said, well, I'm not taking credit for the idea because it wasn't my idea. Someone had said you should do a first day of training camp Q&A. Let people submit questions. Yeah. Fine. No problem.
They can answer them live too.
Well, we could, but I didn't do that. That schedule's crazy. I was like, you know what? We'll put it in. People can write in their questions. Yeah. I think I don't know if you saw, we had like 55 questions come in like 12 hours. I have to say, I was kind of surprised, and I was also like a little annoyed because I'm like, I wasn't planning on answering this many questions. But so we will do that again at some point, maybe as we get a little bit closer to the regular season. We'll do a Q&A that you guys can send in more questions, your range of questions. Some of them were cool, like someone had wrote in, what's the best a place in the Garden to get food during a game, which I'm actually going tonight. They're playing the Islanders preseason, so I'm going with the fam. So the answer to that is Daily Burger. So we got to answer some cool questions as well.
Where is Daily Burger?
It is on the main concourse of MSG, the 100 level. Wow. It's in the Garden.
Its own like restaurant, or is it like just another one of the?
No, it's a food stand, but I think it's got to be like a extension of some place. Like, I don't know if there is an actual Daily Burger, because the Daily Burger,
not just a regular pretzel that they have in the back. It's like,
this is a stand that you just really have burgers and they have fries. And I'm not really, it does. So full disclosure, it doesn't take a lot for me to be impressed with a burger. So it's not like I'm a food connoisseur, but like, it's really good to me. If I was going to a Ranger game, and this was the question, like, what's the best? I think someone said they were going for the first game ever in November or December. Where should they eat in the Garden? You should eat at the Daily Burger.
Nice.
Although we could ask our guests in a couple minutes if they say anything different.
Nice.
But food now, concessions and games are totally different.
Yeah.
Right?
Absolutely.
We went to, before we get into the Ranger stuff, we took the kids to a Yankee game 4 weeks ago.
Yeah.
Again,
I say before they got kicked out of the playoffs?
Yeah. So I say this all the time, and I just feel like it needs to be said whenever we talk about baseball, which is once every 4 months.
Yeah.
We don't cover baseball on the show. My kids wanted to go to a Yankee game at the end of August, and you have those periods where you have nothing to really do with the kids. It's between camp and school. And the Yankees had a homestand, and they were playing the Nationals at home. So there is no one there, right? The team stinks. Washington probably doesn't have that many fans. They stink. But it was a nice night. So we went. We got tickets on StubHub. And I kid you not, we got tickets for $6 after fees. It cost us $24 for 4 of us to go to a game. Now, granted, our seats were like upper deck, whatever row. We go in. I've learned a trick. I'm not going to say because I don't want that many people to know. I've learned a trick.
Star Trek.
I've learned a trick, and I'll do it tonight at the Ranger game, actually, where, you get the cheapest seat to get in, and there's a way you can sit in much better seats, and it
Just
works
leave it at that.
99% of the time. So we took our $6 seats and moved down and sat in $300 seats. So we upgraded from $24 seats to $1,200 in total ticket cost. But my point is that my kids wanted to eat dinner, right? Because it was like a 7:00 game. What do you eat at a baseball game nowadays? It's not peanuts and Cracker Jacks. There's Benihana hibachi in Yankee Stadium. So the concessions are just like, it's not used to be you'd go to a Ranger game in 1990s and the highlight of my night would be the knish that they used to sell. True story. I don't even think they do that anymore. Now it's like, you want sushi? Do you want, barbecue burnt-end sandwiches? But if you're going to the Garden, get Daily Burger, and we will do a Q&A. We will open it up again probably as we get closer to the regular season in 2 weeks. So training camp opens last week, and really the first day, it's like you're anxious for news. You want to know something, right? Because you're excited that it's back. And the Rangers put out on the first day, or the beat writer said, I shouldn't say the Rangers, although Laviolette eventually said it, said, you know what, we're going to experiment with Lafreniere going to the right wing. And people, to an extent, are all up in arms about it. But in my eyes, look, there has been nobody that has campaigned for Alexis Lafreniere to get off the third line in this world more than me. And I'm tired of talking about it, to be honest with you. I don't even want to talk about Lafreniere and Kakko today again, but we're going to because we have to. So to me, if this is the opportunity to get Lafreniere top 6 minutes, get him off of the third line, is to move him to the right wing versus the left wing. Do I love it? No. But am I going to try it and see where it goes as an experiment? Sure. What people seem to forget with lines, and you saw this last week with this exact topic, if you go on social media and see what people post, lines are never set in stone. If you like where you start game one as a hockey squad with your lines is 99% chance game 82 not going to be your lines, right? Players get injured, people are performing well, you make trades, whatever it may be. So if Lafreniere is going to start the season on the third line and get top 6 minutes, and he demonstrates, and let's hope that this is not the case, and he demonstrates that he cannot play the right wing, he needs to be back on his natural side on the left wing, guess what? You can go back and put him on the left wing.
Yeah.
And maybe then you have seen things within his game on the right wing that you like to say, you know what? We're going to find a way to get him some top 6 minutes on the right wing, on the left wing, rather. So we had posted last week, and I got killed for this. People either loved me for this, or they, and I know you know what I'm talking about. They either love this or they don't like it. I wanted the Rangers, before this Lafreniere announcement came out, I wanted them to start with a line of Zibanejad, Kakko, and Lafreniere as the top line. And some people, agreed with me and said, hey, good, take the training wheels off the kids, let them have a chance to get going, let them get rolling. This is a chance to get these kids some top ice minutes. And then there were people, and I understand the other side, that says, well, wait a second here. Where's Chris Kreider? Right? Chris Kreider, 50 goal scorer from 2 years ago. How's he getting demoted? So I get it. But now my pipe dream of that line, if Alexis Lafreniere goes to the right, is not going to happen. And it probably was a pipe dream anyway. So the Rangers started preseason action on Sunday in Boston. I'll tell you something about the weather that was weird.
What's that?
Now, I know the answer to this. I know what happened. Okay. So the Rangers delayed. The Rangers were supposed to play in Boston at 5:00 on Sunday. At 3:30, it comes out that the start of the game is delayed till 5:45, which never happens, right? You're like, why? It's preseason. Why is it getting delayed? Was there an event in the TD Garden or whatever it's called now up there that ran late in the afternoon? The answer is no. There was no Celtics game that went to overtime or anything like that. In the preseason, teams are cheap, right?
Yeah.
And so normally, if the Rangers were playing in Boston, what would happen is if they're playing on Saturday, they fly in on Friday. Right. And they stay the night in the hotel, and then they play the game and they fly back. Well, in preseason, the Rangers do not do that. So the Rangers basically had a 5:00 game in Boston, and then had they scheduled a 12:30 flight from Westchester, which is right near their team facility, to basically allow them just enough time to land at Logan Airport, get on a bus, go through, what is it, the Sumner Tunnel or I-90, whatever it is up there. I should know that from living up there for a little bit, and getting to the Garden, which is really not that far from Logan Airport. But what they didn't keep in mind was that we were going to hit by this tropical storm, and planes, when you get up in the air, they got, if you look, and I'm an aviation guy, it's the only reason I know this, they got put in like a holding pattern outside of Boston. So what should have been like a 40-minute flight became an almost 2-hour flight, therefore pushed back the game. So what do you take away from the game on Sunday? So The Rangers lose 3-0 in a game that's meaningless. I could care less about the score. We're not going to dissect preseason games. I'll just tell you a couple quick points. I thought Philip Hedl actually looked pretty good. If you saw the roster that the Rangers put out that they were bringing to Boston, you knew it wasn't a competitive roster. Other than Hedl, Lafreniere, and Brendan Snyder, there really wasn't much to be excited about. Maybe you'd be excited to see Jonathan Quick in a Ranger jersey. He didn't look good. I didn't think he looked awful, but he didn't look good. But I liked Philip Hedl. I thought Philip Hedl looked okay. You'll see a different group tonight at the Garden. As we went live before, I didn't see it put out yet who's in the lineup tonight or who's not. I was kind of looking forward more just because I'm going to the game. Not really that I care that much, but I don't take, people that want to go crazy about season's over. You lost 3-0 in a preseason opener. Like, let's relax. So we shall see as training camp continues. The Rangers will play now 3 games in 4 nights. They are home tonight at the Garden. Again, I will be there, home to the Islanders. They are home on Thursday night against the Devils, and then back to Friday night. They are at the Islanders. So, yes,
we got some comments.
We do. Okay,
yes.
let's see. I can't see for some reason the comments. Let's get in Drury's here and get Laughing Kako moved, but only if it's for a good return. So,
wow.
All right. So, I'm going to take a sip here. I understand that people are not happy with Lafreniere and Kako, and I appreciate the comment. Here's my problem with trading either one of them. They are still so young. Mm-hmm. If Lafreniere and Kako 2 years from now continue to be who they are, I think it's fair, right? I think you sit there and make, or you examine making a trade, and to your point, only if it's a good return. But it would be typical Rangers to give up on Lafreniere and Kako at this young age and see now them develop somewhere else, right? And become a stud in the league. And all we got back was a 2nd and a 4th round pick. What's the other comment? Can we pull it up? NHL players can play on any side. Try Laffy anywhere. You can see if there's something there or not. Completely agree, right? Yeah. I'd rather move Laffy to the right side if it means he's going to get top 6 minutes than leave him in the back. I completely agree on. And we're going to see. Look, I think this is either the year of Alexis Lafreniere or it's the year that we realize Alexis Lafreniere is not who we thought he should be. Plain and simple.
He needs a chance.
This is going to be his chance. It is what it is. All right, we're going to bring in one of our favorite guests, Coach Ed, Rangers.ed podcast. We encourage you to listen to them. They are very similar to us. I like to think. I think they're better than us in some ways because they have very good dialogue amongst their peers, shall I say, with all the Eds. Yeah, they have a lot of good dialogue, and they always seem to, when I listen to them and I stream them in my car, they always seem to be talking about similar topics to what we are. So we're always kind of on the same page there. So we're going to bring in Coach Ed. We'll bring him into the show. How are you, Coach Ed?
How you doing, fellas? Great intro on that one.
Thank you. All right, so here's where I want to start. So I'm happy you're here, and I don't mean this as any negative thoughts to your other co-hosts, but I'm going to tell you why. You have a coaching background, so you understand the game a little bit more than I would say the casual fan, which I could probably put myself in that class. But here's why I'm happy you're here. Last week, we had Johnny Lazarus from the NHL here, and I asked him a question, and I said, look, you've played hockey, and now you've coached hockey. Does Alexis Lafreniere, in your opinion, Coach Ed, have the skill set to be a star in this league?
I think so. I keep hearing that he improved on his skating, which any good young player needs to improve on something every offseason. But he's got the mind, and I just think it's like you keep saying, and my nephew keeps saying, he's got to get some top 6 minutes. It's a little pressure for him, but he's a little more mature, so hopefully he builds on it. As far as the right wing situation, back in the 70s, early 80s, right, left wing meant something because you more or less skated up and down the ice on your side. But after the face-off in the defensive zone or offensive zone, right and left wing, they're crisscrossing, they're getting open, they're making motions. It's really, to me, it's a better shooting position. Back in the day, Anders Hedberg was a rare case, played in the off wing for the Rangers. You get a better look at the net, a better look at passing off the wall. So I think he'll have no problem with that. I think they tampered with it in the beginning a couple of years ago. His skill set is there. He's got the hockey IQ. He's got the shot. We've seen him when he shoots. He's pretty accurate. I'm looking forward to it.
Okay, so we're going to be in the camp then that Alexis Lafreniere has the skill set. You were right a year ago. I think I was on your show or it might have been vice versa or even both, where you were preaching Vitaly Kravtsov is not an NHL player and he's not good and he's a bum. And obviously now he's left the country, so you were right on that. So where would you put Capo Caco? Does he have the ability to be a star in the league?
I would say a star, not a superstar. I mean, he shows signs of he's a different player than Lafreniere. He's a little bit more, I'd say better in tight spaces. He controls the puck well, keeps the puck away well. It's another situation where he's going to have to get top 6 minutes, but I don't think they both can on this team. So I was kind of a fan. I was kind of in the ballpark of moving Kako last year, not because I don't like him, because you got to look at the reality of the future. If they want to win now or within the next 2 years, is there a spot for him to get those minutes he deserves, or can we get a player we really need? I mean, it's a tough decision, but I think he could be a star in this league for sure.
But with Kako, I have an easier. If I said I need to get Capo Caco or Alexi Lafreniere top line minutes, I might have an easier time getting Capo Caco because I could see him being the first line right wing, right? I mean, if you're going to start with Zibanejad and Kreider, which is the most likely situation, my pipe dream of Zibanejad with Lafreniere and Caco is not really realistic. I know that. So if you have Kreider on the left and you have Zibanejad in the center, I mean, I don't really know other than Blake Wheeler and who is Kako really fighting for that spot with?
No, he's got to be on the second line. I can't see them putting Blake Wheeler. I mean, I listened to a couple of the press conferences. He's just dabbling with line combinations now. You know, a new coach coming in, he's got to see them playing, and then he's going to make decisions. Playing in practice on those lines is one thing, but playing in competition is another. You know, it's a whole different ball game from a coaching standpoint. The teams I coach, oh, you're great. Oh, they're flying in practice. They're making passes. Then they get in a game and you become under pressure, making decisions, a totally different player.
So do you think when we talk about moving up lines, is there a chance in your eyes Filipino plays the second center above Vincent Trocheck?
I mean, it looks like that now. We discussed it last night on our podcast. He did look good the other night. You know, he improved himself in the offseason physically. Remains to be seen if he's got the hockey IQ, which is my big crutch against him. You know, I don't know if he's got that. We'll see. I mean, it looks like Laviolette's going to give him those minutes. He's going to give him second line. I think Trocheck it's going to give them 3 good lines. You know, puts Trocheck in a position maybe to score more because he's playing a third line center. He's not going to be opposing a lot of top lines. So, you know, there's a lot of variables that, you know, a lot of ifs like every other team has, I guess.
Yeah. Why don't we pull up, Doug, that last comment that just came in about what you were saying, Coach Ed, and that is the list of players who played and succeeded on the off wing is never ending from Yager to Rocket Richard. It doesn't matter where you play, only that you do play. Yeah, absolutely right. So in agreement with us and that, like, you know, if that is Lafreniere's opportunity to get those top 6 minutes to move him to the right wing, then it's something that needs to be done. And also, as I have said for a while, and we don't have confirmation on this, but I'm pretty sure it's common sense, that when Chris Drury is interviewing coaches in the offseason, it had to be a prerequisite that he had to know that whoever he was going to take the job was going to give these kids more ice time, right? I mean, I think that was also part of the disconnect between the front office and Gerard Gallant. All right, before we let you go, Coach Ed, this season starts in 2.5 weeks with the Rangers opening up in Buffalo on October 12th. Where would you put them out of the 8 teams in the Metro? Where do you have them finishing?
Third or fourth, I'm going to go with.
We are in agreement. Yeah. I think that this team is destined to finish either 2 or 3 in the Metro, probably 3. I mean, Carolina and the Devils are better. The concern for me, and again, this is a concern that's now 8 months away, so I don't want to get too much into it, but is it you're really just pitting yourself up for another first-round matchup with the Devils or Hurricanes?
It's going to be tough, yeah.
It's going to be tough, right? So, all right, well, I thank you for joining us as always. That is the great Coach Ed from the Rangers Ed podcast. Great insight on Lafreniere, and good job handling the live commentary as well coming in. Thank you, Coach.
Can I comment on the food at the Garden before we
go? Oh, yeah, absolutely. So I'm going tonight. Yeah, so I will be there tonight with my family. We're going to the preseason game. What would be, here was the question we got. If you could have one recommendation where to eat in the Garden, where is it?
Well, first of all, the daily burger is a home run. The one with the bacon jam on it, I
Yes.
discovered like a year ago, was phenomenal. I actually bought bacon jam for my house now. But if you want to get the best bang for your buck and sandwich you could probably share with somebody is the Carnegie Deli corned beef sandwich.
Okay.
And they have knishes there.
Oh, they do?
Yeah.
You know what I'm doing tonight? Thank you. I'm going back to my 90s days where the real small, Coach Ed remembers, the real small concourses when you're trying to get concessions in the garden. I am going to hit that up actually tonight. That will be
Carnegie Deli. It's a little expensive, but like I said, you could split the sandwich with somebody. It's a big sandwich.
If it's a corned beef thing, my son will eat it with me too because that's his thing. So we will be good with that. Thank you for the recommendation and thanks for joining us, Coach.
You got it. Have a good time. Let's go Rangers, boys.
You too. That is Coach Ed from the Rangers Ed podcast. So, yeah, I mean, look, and thank you for the comments for you guys writing in. I think you have to give Lafreniere the shot on the right wing if it's going to open up some top 6 minutes for him. I just think if the alternative is that you're going to sit here and keep him on the left wing and in turn try and keep him on the third line, what was the point of the draft pick?
Yeah, why not shake it up a little bit?
Shake it up, make it interesting. Yeah. And you know what? If you shake it up, it makes it interesting for us.
Yeah.
So
I mean, just like give things a try. You know what I mean? It's preseason too. Why not?
Yeah.
Look at it.
So speaking of shaking things up and giving things a try, can we talk about the New York Jets for a minute?
They don't like to shake things up.
So our
things are already shooken up.
So I feel I'm like, I don't really know how to say what I'm about to say. I feel like the Jets did a great job assembling a roster for week 1. Aaron Rodgers, Breece Hall, Garrett Wilson, Sauce Gardner. Like they did a great job doing all they could do, putting a good team on the football field. I'm not going to get into if they did a good job with the coach. I'm not getting there. I'm not going there. Aaron Rodgers gets hurt. And as a team management, you have to look at it and say to yourself, okay, either I need to make a change because my day-to-day roster is not where I want it to be, or I'm happy with my day-to-day roster. My day-to-day roster gives me the best chance to win. How long can the Zach Wilson thing go on?
I don't know, but I did hear an interesting stat this morning that last year, I believe, the Jets were 5-2, and they pulled the plug on Zach Wilson the week that they would have played the Chicago Bears with an injured Justin Fields. So it would have been a good game for him to gain some confidence. I just feel like his whole career has been a little mishandled, and it's continuing now. So like he was in the pocket, just hanging out there, not doing anything. Like you got to have a timer in your head. Like, all right, 3 seconds is up. Not even 2 seconds is up. Now I got to run because he's got wheels. He can run. There was plenty of times where he just stood there and got sacked. It's like, you got to do something.
I don't know if I am the Jets, right? And I didn't get in trouble for saying this because again, it wasn't bad. When Daniel Jones was drafted, right? And he was drafted, 7th overall. I said to someone, good athletes that come out of Duke don't play football. They don't. They play basketball. With Zach Wilson, what good athlete comes out of BYU in Utah?
And you picked them number what?
2? 2 overall.
Yeah.
But this is the Jets, and not to open up like a can of worms for you, because I know you get this topic annoys you, but there was Sam Darnold too that was mishandled, right? Or he's either mishandled or he just wasn't deserving to be picked there, right? It's one or the other. I don't know. So it's him. I mean,
where's our Tua?
Where's
our Justin Fields?
Well, I don't know.
Where's our Jordan Love?
And then, like you could go back and be like, I mean, I don't know. You want to say Mark Sanchez was great? I don't know. I mean, he was I believe he was a mid to late round first round pick, which I guess was okay. Like he won a playoff game or 2, if I remember, but he wasn't great. So
didn't have much around him at the time, right?
Yeah, I just don't know. Like if I'm the Jets, right? And here's the other thing. You always think about it like this. It's a business, right? So the Jets need to sell tickets. Now, they had a real easy time selling tickets over the summer when Aaron Rodgers was there. Yes. But if I haven't bought my season tickets and I'm not locked in and maybe I have a partial plan or I'm a guy that, is thinking about getting a season plan next year, later
Mhm.
this year, whatever. You have to put a product on the field that looks like they care, that makes your fan base care. The worst thing that can happen in football, I
Mhm.
say this all the time, especially with the Giants and the Jets because
Yeah.
of the weather here, is when you have a team, a Jets or a Giant team in November or December that stinks and is out of it, and you look at a MetLife Stadium and it's 15 degrees and no one is there. That's awful.
Yeah.
That's depressing.
Yeah.
That's where, and the Jets schedule, as we talked about over the summer, if I can go off my memory here, they have Kansas City this week.
Mhm.
Then I believe they have Philly.
Mhm.
Then they have the Giants. And then they have the Chargers. Right?
Yeah.
That's the next 4?
Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, it almost doesn't even matter who they play because the defense is holding their own. I mean, they were they didn't. How many first downs did they get against the Patriots? Like the Patriots hit the ball the whole game.
They're not. So I didn't
know what I mean?
watch.
Like-
My daughter had, and I'm thankful I didn't watch. My daughter had a game that I was at, so I
Yeah.
didn't watch.
It's
But
probably way more entertaining. Than the Jets.
it was actually. But it just, I like, I don't know how long you can go about it. And then we were talking here in the studio before we went on,
Mhm.
where we talked before we were playing No Scrubs by TLC and blasting it, which I feel like we would mention because that's the type of people we are. That like Carson Wentz supposedly either he called the Jets himself or his agent over the weekend and said, "Look, hey, I'm available. Do you have any interest?" And the Jets said, "You know what? No, we're going to stick with Zach Wilson."
Was this before or after the game? Patriots game.
I believe, I'm not sure on this. I believe it was after. But, right, I know you're looking at it like
Joe Namath, legendary Jet, says he's seen enough of Zach Wilson. I mean, the kid had his shot. We gave him a shot. Everyone was like, all right, we believe in you, Zach. I mean, yeah, the Bills game, we rallied behind you. You won the Bills game. Like, everyone's like ready to cheer for you. We all want you to do good. He just sits in the pocket and gets sacked. Like,
you're going to lose. Like, you look at Garrett Wilson now on the sideline getting really annoyed at
Yeah.
everything. Like, you also run the risk of players internally being unhappy with the
who's in the
team.
locker room?
And that is a problem that, okay, Aaron Rodgers will hopefully be back by next training camp, and he can rectify that. But I don't know that you want to sit there and really
push that envelope.
And it's a rough envelope to push if it doesn't work out.
A really good wide receiver who's unable to get the ball.
Yes.
Like,
right. And when you look at where, and I don't want to say like fantasy is reality because it's not, but like when you look at fantasy football at where Garrett Wilson was being drafted, thinking that the quarterback was Aaron Rodgers, it should show you the potential of the sort of year Garrett Wilson could have had. And now he's sitting here with this train wreck. And it's not like, and again, it's not like there's a Hall of Fame quarterback, out there that they can just sign. Whoever it is a stretch. Carson Wentz is a stretch. RG3 is a stretch. I get it. But like
Carson Wentz is a stretch.
I don't know how you can sit here and sell to your fan base and to your fans that we think this is our best shot to win. How?
The kid, he had a shot. Where's Mike White right now? I mean, Andy Dalton played great last week, and so did Minshew. Like, there's these like second string quarterbacks that are out there that are not getting any time that are doing great. He looks like he's deer in the headlights. He sits in the pocket and doesn't do anything. Like, you got to run. Everything's open. He would open up the whole game. He's got feet. He's got legs. Like, if you're not playing well and you can't throw the ball, at least run the ball. At least try. He's just standing there. It looks like he's just standing there deer in the headlights.
Well, the Jets now go on, I believe, it's Monday night football.
We have all these Monday and Sunday night games.
Yeah, they do.
Because they thought Aaron Rodgers was going to play.
Yeah.
So I think it's Sunday night football with the Chiefs and then Monday night football, Seahawks and Giants.
Is that what it is?
I believe so.
God. Yeah, and both teams are a wreck. The Giants go out to San Francisco. Now, you didn't expect them to win, right? Like, it just didn't, especially when you knew they weren't going to have Saquon. But that is a team to me that right now is really right at the precipice of having the season fall apart real fast. Like, it's about to unravel. It hasn't yet, and they can beat Seattle. They can beat Seattle at home. Matter of fact, I know what they are because they're one of the picks in the weekly picks this week. They are a 1-point favorite. So the Giants can win this week, but then next week they go down to Miami where they could get lit up. I mean, we have to get that girl, Dal Freaky. Remember who was on the NFL Fan of the Year? She must be on cloud nine. So the Giants, after you play the Seahawks, right, you're not going to beat the Dolphins the next week, and you're not going to go up to Buffalo the following week, which is also a Sunday night game. My goodness. So the Giants, if the Giants lose this week, they go to 1-3. They're going to lose the next two, the Dolphins and the Bills. So the Giants are either going to 1-5, or if they win this week, 2-4. I mean, they're, like I said, they are right at the precipice of having this whole thing unravel before you're even
The
in
sad
October.
part is if they played a little better, not that they would have won, but there were plenty of plays, there were plenty of opportunities that they could have kept that game closer.
The bright light for the Giants that the Giants have that the Jets do not is their schedule. If we get past the Dolphins and the Bills, they then play the Commanders, the Jets, the Raiders, the Cowboys, the Commanders, the Patriots, the Packers, the Saints, the Eagles. I mean, it's not that easy, but it's easier. Neither of these teams are making the play. In the sense that if you think about the hype for both these teams, the Giants coming off last year, Daniel Jones getting the new contract, Saquon coming back, Dable year 2, the Jets getting Aaron Rodgers. And again, that torn Achilles is not the Jets' fault, but it's just like, I don't know. It's hard to get into football right now. It is not easy. But we're back with another week of football, and DraftKings Sportsbook is keeping us in on the NFL action with great offers every single game day. New customers such as Kurt from New Jersey can bet $5 and get $200 instantly in bonus bets. Throw 5 down on any of this week's epic matchups to walk away an instant winner. And DraftKings isn't stopping there. All customers can take advantage of 2 new offers every game day this September. Football's more fun when you're in on the action, so download the app now and sign up with promo code THPN. That is THPN. New customers can bet just $5 to get $200 instantly in bonus bets, only on DraftKings Sportsbook, an official betting partner of the NFL. With promo code THPN, the crown is yours. Gambling problem? Call 1-800-GAMBLERS or visit www.1800gambler.net. In New York, call 877-8-HOPE-NY or text HOPE-NY. In Connecticut, help is available for gambling on 888-789-7777. So, our week picks.
Yes.
Are you aware of what happened last week? We didn't talk about this before with our week 3 picks.
We had week 1. We had week 2.
So we were 0 for 5 in week 1.
I didn't want to bring it up. But.
Okay. We were 0 for 5 in week 1. B-Rock's sitting there in the corner laughing because he knows where we're going. We were 0 for 5 in week 1. We responded completely with a 5 for 5 week in week 2. Dougie, out of the 5 games in week 3, how many did we have right?
5.
Okay. If you go 5 and you subtract 5, you'd have your answer. We went another 0 for. We either go big or we go home, right? We're either gonna bring it to the promised land, or we're not even gonna try. I don't know what happened. Now, I'm not making excuses at all, because gambling, it's like if there's you don't get points for being close. We were really close on a couple of the things. Now I'll tell you where we were not close. Broncos plus 6.5 at the Dolphins. I could have had 46 and I still would have lost.
God.
Literally, I could have had 46. I could have been plus, what was it, 70-20, right?
Yeah.
I could have been plus 49.5. Think about that. DraftKings would have put that out and given you the Broncos at plus 49.5. You would have bet your mortgage, your kids' college funds, your car, everything.
Yeah.
And you would have lost. Well, we had them at plus 6.5. So we were a little off. So I was with Packers -2. Packers, it was -1 was the answer. So I was we were close on some. But again, I'm not sitting here condoning losing like a close second. You lose or you lose. So here are our week 4 picks for the Mind Your Puckin' Business podcast. I'm going to go overseas. We're going to go to London, go across the pond for the Dolphins and the Bills, which is a really good game. I'm taking the Dolphins plus 2.5 here. The Dolphins are, 70 points last weekend. Red hot. I understand the Bills are good, but it's hard for me to go against the team that is playing as good as the Dolphins are. And remember with the Dolphins last week, they didn't have Jalen Waddle, and they scored 70 points, and he should be back this weekend. I'm taking the Dolphins plus 2.5 at a neutral site game against the Bills in London. I like the Steelers -3 at the Texans. The Texans, I'm not buying what happened in Jacksonville, and I want to believe that the Steelers have got it together a little bit, and -3 is not a lot of points for a team that I think is clearly better. So give me the Steelers -3. I like the Raiders plus 5.5 at the Chargers. The Chargers, whenever they win, they never blow teams out, and they lost their wide receiver this week, Mike Williams, to a torn ACL. He's out the rest of the season, and I'm getting 5.5 in that matchup. I'm taking the Raiders plus 5.5 at the Chargers. I don't like this pick. Our executive producer, B-Rock, will. I'm taking the Patriots plus 7 at the Cowboys. It's hard for me to take a Cowboys team that is giving 7 points when I saw what I saw in Arizona.
Yeah.
It just is. Are the Cowboys better? Yeah. Will the Cowboys probably win? Yes. And I would like them to because I can't stand the Patriots. But I'm taking the Patriots at the points of plus 7. Last game I'm picking a local game. The Giants minus 1.5 at home in Seattle. We just said in the program, the Giants from here got to go deal with Miami and Buffalo next. They got to win this week. It's not going to get any easier. This is basically a pick 'em minus 1.5. You have a team that has to come across the country. Seattle has been inconsistent. The Giants have had a little extra rest because they were played on Thursday night. I'm taking the Giants minus 1 at home versus Seattle. So to recap, I'm taking the Dolphins plus 2.5 versus the Bills in London. The Steelers minus 3 at the Texans. The Raiders plus 5.5 on the road in Southern California against the Chargers. Patriots plus 7 down in Dallas. And the Giants minus 1 at home versus the Seahawks. So
You're not going to touch that Jet game, are you?
I'm not touching the Jet game. The Jet spread, and we'll get to the comment from the Jet comment in a second. The Jet spread is what I saw. I think it was like 9 actually. Let's see. What do you think the spread should be actually, Dougie Sticks?
Who are they playing?
They're playing the Chiefs at home.
See, like the thing is, like I don't think their defense is that bad, so I don't think it's going to be like a 70-20 game like the Miami game.
It's 9.5. I was right.
That sounds.
And if you look at the way it's trending towards Vegas because the minus 9.5 is a minus 115. So there's more money right now on the Chiefs 9.5 than the Jets getting 9.5. I'm not touching the game because it could be a blowout, right? If Zach Wilson is Zach Wilson, yeah, but if the Chiefs put up 30 points, which that Zach Wilson has to put up 21 for that to hit.
I think they just manage the clock and run the ball more. Bryce Hall doesn't get enough touches. Dalvin Cook hasn't done much.
Yeah,
That's another thing. I don't know if not many people are talking about. Dalvin Cook hasn't really done much.
No, he hasn't. Why don't we pull up that football comment? Do you still think Jones should have gotten that contract? I think a journeyman and some big-time players to go with him do way more than Jones. Absolutely agree. Daniel Jones should not have been given that contract. I said that over the summer when it happened, or in the spring, whenever it was. There's no way that quarterback from Duke is worth that money in that amount of time.
So, like, and like, here's the thing. Like, let's put yourself in those shoes. I get that you're trying to cash in and get the money, but wouldn't you like, I don't get why some of these players don't say, like, listen, all right, you're going to pay me this much. Why don't you take, like, 2 or 3 million and put that into a line in the line? Because if the line plays better and gives me time to play and I look good, then I can get more money later on. I feel like our line play is not that good either.
I think there's a lot of issues. The Jets, though, like, this is what I said, like, you can't blame them for the Rodgers injury. I mean, that's just a fluke thing, but
yeah, but if he wasn't pressured every play,
yeah, but
same thing.
I don't know. I don't know where they go. I honestly have no idea. but I would know. I would like you to go somewhere that doesn't involve Zach Jones or Zach Wilson. Zach Wilson.
Jones. Imagine that quarterback.
Combining the two. Oh man, could you imagine? It'd be terrible.
Oh,
terrible meets terrible.
Where's Mike White right now?
I don't know. Where is Mike White? You know what? That's a good question. Mike White.
He's in Miami.
He's in
How'd
Miami.
you let that guy out of the building?
Yeah, there you go. Even worse, an ex-Jet receiver.
Oh my
God.
God.
Now Mike White, though, he's in a situation where if you're a Dolphins fan, you obviously hope you never see him because that means Tua is hurt. But if Mike White plays, he's got Tyreek Hill and he's got Waddle and those guys down there, so he would be more than fine in that situation. I don't blame him for taking that job over the Jets.
I mean, what did he just sign a contract? It wasn't like they traded him or
No,
anything?
they didn't trade him. He probably was a free agent.
So how do you let that guy out the door?
Because you had to. You had Aaron Rodgers and you have Zach Wilson. So you weren't going to sign him for
but why didn't you let go of Zach Wilson?
They're not going to do that. If you haven't, it doesn't mean that that's the right move. I'm just saying by now it's clear as day that they're not going to do that.
Yeah.
And you're stuck with him. You're literally stuck with this guy, and you have a team that for some reason feels like they are married to him.
When they have to say that now, until they get somebody, they can't say we're looking desperately for anybody.
But all right, so next time we tape, right, next week,
Yeah.
They've played Kansas City. They've lost, right? They're getting 9.5. They're not going to win. Maybe they lose by 5 or 6, whatever. Vegas is not off on 9.5 points. Well,
Mhm.
unless it's Miami and Denver, they're up by 50. So, like, they're not going to win. Okay, so now they're going to be what, 1-3, and then they're going to play the Eagles, and they're going to lose again. They're going to be 1-4. And if I remember right, and I might be wrong about this, I think they go into their bye week then. Before they played the Giants. Is that right? I think. Let me look. Because my point is this. Yes, you play. Oh, no, I'm sorry. You play the Broncos next week, who are equally as terrible before you play the Jets. Before you play the Jets. But do you want to sit there and bet that they're definitely going to beat the Broncos? No. Matter of fact, if the line was coming out right now, like if they played the Broncos this week, what would you have the line at?
Well, that's a tough one.
Right, both teams are awful.
Yeah.
I mean, I almost think it's close. Maybe the Jets are -2, maybe the Broncos are -2, but it's close. They could lose, right?
Yeah.
So you have the Chiefs, the Broncos. Say you lose the Broncos and the Eagles, you're not winning that game. That means and then you have your bye week. That means when you play the Giants on October 29th, it is literally the end of October. You are 2 days away from Halloween, which I expect you to dress up as because it's your daughter's first Halloween this year. So we want to see your costume.
Yeah.
So you are literally into November and you may have one win under your belt. So go ahead and sell me on Zach Wilson.
Well, that's my point. Like, you got to do something now. You got to do something now. Maybe after the Chiefs game, but like, you gave him his shot. He looked like deer in the headlights. Unless he does some miraculous turnaround for the Chiefs game, you got to do something now because it's gonna be too late.
Correct. So, all right. Well, again, back to the Rangers. They are tonight at 7 o'clock at the Garden. They'll play 3 games in 4 nights. They'll play the Devils on Thursday and the Islanders again on Friday. So we'll keep you abreast of any preseason developments. We thank the Bamboozle Project as always. Check them out as www.thebamboozleproject.com. Use promo code MYPB. Save yourself a whopping 25%. We thank DraftKings as well. Any other questions from you, sir?
Good show.
Good show as always. We will talk to you next week. Thanks for tuning in.